Hello, and welcome to our weekly news segment. We are still working on a name, so if somebody suggested Scupdate, by the way, and that is what I currently am liking the best, but if you have a better update for a weekly ski update, weekly outdoor update show, hit me up. Let's talk about it, because I would love to steal someone's idea. Few things going on, actually quite a few things going on for this week. So we're going to kind of run through the list. First and foremost, the thing that everybody cares about the most early season, it is going to snow potentially throughout different areas of the country. It is cold. Adam X actually just posted a picture of Holiday Valley that got a dusting today, which is Tuesday the 18th. But towards the end of the week, going into the weekend, currently Wasatch snow forecast is predicting about 18 inches, 12 to 18 inches of snow for the weekend between Saturday and Sunday, which is insane. Obviously, that does not mean ski season is in, but it means it is coming, and it is coming rapidly. Pause. That is super exciting. Obviously, keep in mind, who knows what's going to happen over the next couple weeks when resorts are going to start to open, but I would expect to see Killington open maybe this weekend, if not definitely next weekend. So keep an eye out on the East Coast for that kind of stuff going on, but it's happening. We have a ski season, and it is starting ASAP. Next thing I want to talk about, which is actually very important and very bizarre to me, is that Stowe sold out of season passes last week for their parking, not season passes in general, but just parking passes. If you're unfamiliar with what they're doing, they decided that they are going to offer non-guaranteed seasonal parking passes. Your guess is as good as mine as to how they're going to handle that, manage that, and deal with the fact that they are selling a pass product that is not guaranteed. Why anybody would buy this $450 item, I don't understand, but people are doing it, and in fact, it sold out in less than 15 minutes, which is absolutely bonkers. So clearly people have $450 to throw at a wall for a maybe. I think this is bizarre. I don't like it. I think I'm all for paying for parking within a certain area. I think that's fine. I don't like the cash grab that is a $450 commitment for a decent chunk of people. I couldn't find anywhere how many went on sale. But it's pretty insane. And they're also like imposing fees on people. It's like there's an initial fee if you don't follow the parking system of $75. This is all from New England Ski Journal, in case you're wondering where you can find more details on this. But it's going to start happening all over. You're going to start to see it at every epic resort. It happened at last season at Mount Snow. It's an unfortunate reality of things getting busier and an unlimited amount of pass products being sold at the season pass level. I don't know how anybody wouldn't predict this kind of thing would happen. Do I think it's bullshit? I absolutely think it's bullshit. I don't see a way around it. I mean, it sucks that you buy this pass that's supposed to be cheap and give you access to everything. And obviously, in a best case scenario, it very much does. And it increases the accessibility that people have to these mountains, because it's still expensive, but it's not as expensive as it could be to go and ski and explore so many different locations, right? So as much as it is documented and well known that I don't like Epic, it is a thing that it is doing some positive things for the ski community, even if a lot of those things are kind of getting overshadowed by the amount of negative impact that they have on the community as a whole. Nonetheless, 15 minutes to sell out of this thing is absolutely mind-boggling to me that it went this fast. But people in New England want to ski. If they have an Epic Pass, where's the best skiing in New England? It is at Stowe. Point blank, end of story. I think there's better skiing in New England personally, but it is some of the best skiing overall that is available. I would highly suggest you don't go on weekends if you can avoid it. Try to make it happen during the week, and definitely avoid holidays. I feel like that's obvious, but avoid holidays as best as you possibly can, because it is going to be brutal and there's no way around it. And again, not a guaranteed parking spot. So worth mentioning. Next, we're going to talk a little bit about Park City. Park City has a group of lift mechanics, quite a few actually, that are trying to unionize themselves. They're trying to talk about making this a reality, and in the next 4 to 6 weeks, we could very well see that happen. I think that this is a really big step for not only the treatment of lift mechanics and lift operators. I think that you'll start to see this more and more and more in the ski industry as people find themselves being taken advantage of by a system that is very much, it's designed to do that, right? Like, it's designed to operate very, very autonomously, and I don't think that that allows for the human aspect of it as well as it could. Unions are really important for the individual. Obviously, there is a ton of flaws with having a union, but there's way more flaws for having no union whatsoever, especially when you're talking about big conglomerates like Vail Resorts, Alterra, the companies that kind of controlling the future of this industry and controlling the infrastructure in which we all partake in. So I was really happy to see that this was a thing, and it's a thing that people really care about. It's great. That's really all I can say about it. I'm happy that it's happening, and I hope it goes through, and I hope it's for the right reasons, right? Like, there's always that as well. The thing that I've kind of been thinking about for a long time is the unionization of skiers, like having a skiers alliance, right? Like, for example, the NBA has the NBA Players Association. Why don't we have something like this for skiers? Obviously, skiers are much more free-spirited. They're much more by themselves. They're loners. They don't want to work with a lot of these brands, but I think there's going to be a point when push comes to shove that you have to do that, and you have to take care of your own, especially as these brands get bigger and bigger, as they decide to transition more to social promotions and working with influencers and doing all this stuff. You need to know that you're protected, especially within your contract, and having an agent or a manager is not always the solution to that. So that is kind of the next step that I see happening in the next few years. I would really like to see that. If anybody wants to do this kind of thing or wants to talk about doing this kind of thing, this is a thing that I am extremely invested in, extremely interested in doing. Because I think there's a lot of value to individual media brands. There's a lot of value to the individual skier, especially as people start to get pro careers, kind of figuring out the education of how to do this, how to make money, what that money looks like, and how to not get screwed in a contract, right? Like, we've talked about it on the podcast for sure, but non-disclosure agreements, right? Where you can't talk to your peers about how much money you make by the numbers. And it's really important to make sure that people can actually have those discussions in order for the industry to grow as a whole. So, and for everybody as an individual to be protected, right? Because this is everybody's job. If we hit a recession and every brand decides, oh, we're not paying, oh, this isn't worth it anymore, there's a lot of trouble to be had. Obviously, it becomes difficult because unlike things like the NBA, NFL, traditional sports teams, you're working with a bunch of different brands. It will be much harder to make something like this work. However, there is definitely a possibility of trying to figure out a way to work together as a community to make sure that and again, like, it's not like the brands are these big bad companies, but they're very much looking out for number one. I talked about it with Sandra Hadley in Monday's episode that's going to come out. They're not trying to screw you, and you're not trying to screw them. But if you can make double off of a brand, you're going to do it. If a brand can get you for half the cost, they're going to do it, even if they're your friends. I mean, if somebody's going to charge me half price, I'm not going to be like, nope, charge me full price, charge me double. It's not a thing that I'm going to do, right? Money is not the motivator for any of us in this industry, but we want to make sure that we're taken care of and that our careers are taken care of long term. So I hope that this becomes the norm. I hope that that is a thing that can happen, and I would like to help in any way that I can. So if anybody has ideas or thoughts on this topic, this is a thing that I would very much like to be, as I said, involved in. One of the last things before we get into a special segment at the end that I'd like to talk about is the fact that Burton is now offering an online rental program. Okay, what does this mean? It means that you can rent Burton products and have it delivered to your home, your Airbnb, your ski shop, wherever you want, right? There is a plethora of Burton products that'll be available in this program, obviously including hard goods, but it's going to include things like clothing as well. This is an awesome step forward as far as accessibility goes, as far as people being able to go into the mountains and not get completely hosed and be able to just go, right? I think one of the things that we've seen more and more is that places like a Big Snow are allowing more people to just go out, because you can be in the shopping mall, decide that you want to go for a few laps or a session, and go do that because they will rent you everything. There's obviously going to be some growing pains with something like this. There are free returns. You can receive it anywhere. I mean, you're relying a lot on the shipping system that is obviously very fickle at this point. I mean, think about UPS, like FedEx, any of these things. Like, I can't tell you the last time I got a package delivered when it said it was supposed to be. And that's just how it is right now, especially larger items like a snowboard. That seems insane, but they are offering free return shipping, and they're going to include a return label. That part to me is so crazy. And my biggest question right now is, what does that look like? What does that look like overall for shops? How does that impact retailers, especially Burton retailers? I'd be interested to know more about how those retailers feel like it's going to affect their rental businesses. I was talking to somebody the other day and talking about how, like, when my shop decided to do online reservations, it became really important for us, and it became almost the main way that people came to rent through us, because it eliminates some of the processes. Obviously, with ski, it's a little more complicated than snowboarding to do something like this, but I would not be shocked if you see a K2 Blizzard Technica, a Fisher, go in next year and decide, look, we're going to offer a full-on lease program, and it's going to be delivered to your door. Because you may or may not know this, but shops already buy stuff for the intention of leasing. It is not like they are buying 100 Nordica Enforcers and then they decide, oh, we're just going to put 100 of these things that we bought for retail on demo. Does that happen sometimes? For sure, but there is special demo pricing. There are special rental SKUs that are available. There are performance rental SKUs. All this stuff exists right now at the retail level and at the wholesale level, obviously, but the direct-to-consumer level has never had something like this before, and I think it's going to be really interesting to see how it plays out, because that very well could shape one of the biggest moneymakers for ski shops and for retail going forward into the future. It's one of the easiest ways to make money, like, because ski shops, regardless of what you think, don't make a ton of money. Like, the margin is difficult for the amount of product that you have to have. You're literally basing this whole system on whether snow comes down from the sky or not, right? That's such an insane way to run a business, but that is how this industry works and is how this industry breathes. Rentals are a way to ensure that money comes in, and money with decent margin comes in. So I'm going to be very interested to see how this works and how shops react to it going forward, because in the bike industry, people don't love when and in ski, when brands start to go direct to consumer, because they feel like their toes are being stepped on. I am not of this mindset normally, but I am. There is some curiosity when it comes to talking about what could happen with a program like this, and honestly, I'm interested in the hiccups that happen too, because I think this is a great test. There was a brand to do it. I think Burton is the right company to try a program like this, and it adds to the story of inclusivity that they are trying to commit to long term. It is great. You can change your reservation up to 10 days before your trip. Like, that allows for crappy weather. That allows for you to actually do some forecasting in your plans. There's a lot of really nice things that they're intending to do here. So, cool program. I'll include some information and where to find more in the show notes, but it's definitely worth talking about. Last thing we're going to talk about here is a very special conversation. I'm just kidding. It's not that important, but it is funny, and I'm going to try to do one every week, but we're going to talk about the meme of the week, because memes are funny, and I think a lot of times they allow people to kind of separate themselves from what is actually going on in the ski world and some of the stressful things, while still considering some of them. Meme the Whites has crushed it in the past 7 days. This person has done everything from talking about how the liberals want to change Tuckerman Ravine to Tucker They Them Ravine, which is hilarious. It's just a good play. Additionally, in the past couple weeks, they've done all kinds of things like Townsend Tuesday, where basically they just make a video meme of some sorts about Cody Townsend and the 50 Project. Like, this shit is hilarious. Like, for the last 7 days, Meme the Whites has just been pumping out phenomenal content. So props to that crew over there. Check out meme the whites, meme underscore the underscore whites. Cool. That's it for today. Back next Friday. We will talk to you then. For now, bye.